For the longest time, I thought being efficient was the best way to play video games, but the more I did it, the more disconnected I started feeling. I was so obsessed with making progress that I'd forgotten how to actually experience a game. Like, take my first playthrough of Death Stranding, where at first I thought I was doing everything right. I was smashing through deliveries, unlocking new gear, and getting completely hooked on that satisfying, addictive loop of progression. But weirdly, the more I played like that, the more I started feeling like I was missing the entire experience itself. I wasn't appreciating the beauty of the journey or feeling the weight of what Sam was actually going through. And honestly, that kind of sucked. So one time, halfway through a delivery, I just stopped. I found this really nice view and I made Sam sit down. Not for regaining stamina, which is what it's meant for, but just to sit there for a second and take it all in. And even though my completionist brain wanted me to get up, finish the delivery and keep going, I just found the moment too beautiful to leave. And because I stayed just that little bit longer, eventually, all on his own, Sam slowly slumped forward and fell asleep. Which honestly made me go, what the fuck? Like, I had no idea he could even do that. But seeing that felt kinda special, because for a second, instead of feeling like I was controlling a character, it started to feel more like I was sharing a moment with someone who existed whether I'd touched the controller or not. And that was awesome. But then the more I thought about it, it also just made sense. After walking across half the world with a mountain of gear on your back, of course you'd stop, sit down and take a moment. Like, I definitely would. So to me, it already felt like something Sam would realistically do, but then he actually fell asleep and that just took it a step further. Because now it didn't just feel believable, it felt real. Like he was genuinely exhausted from everything I just made him do. And it sounds weird, but it almost felt like I was actually letting him rest when he needed it. Which honestly made me feel strangely connected to him, and that alone felt really good. But what made it even better was that I only saw it because I decided to slow down. It wasn't tied to a quest or a reward or some objective on the screen, but it still gave me that same sense of satisfaction, if not more. I didn't earn it by completing something, I instead earned it by discovering something all on my own, and somehow that felt more meaningful than anything else I'd done before. And to be completely honest, I think that's when Death Stranding really clicked for me, because up until that point, all I really cared about was moving the story forward. So everything else in between just ended up feeling kind of meh, and honestly, that was kind of exhausting. But this felt different. It felt refreshing. Like I was actually experiencing the game instead of just rushing through it. Once I realized that, I made sure to play the rest of the game like that, and all of a sudden, Death Stranding went from being a game I just wanted to get through to something I was genuinely enjoying. Slowing down didn't just make the game feel more real, it created moments I never would have experienced otherwise. And because of that, I wanted to see if I could get the same experience out of other games too, even completely different ones. Like, as crazy as it sounds, I even took the time to slow down in a fast game like Astrobot, where not only did I start noticing things I never would have seen otherwise, but at one point Astro just turned and waved at the camera, which not only blew my mind, but my 5-year-old daughter literally waved back because she thought he could see her. And I don't know about you, but that to me is just insane. But what's even crazier is that both of those moments from Death Stranding and Astrobot came from doing the exact same thing. Just choosing to slow down and stop. However, even in saying that, slowing down doesn't just stop there. Literally. Because most of the time, it's not actually about stopping at all. It's about how you move. And for me, that usually meant one simple thing: walking instead of running. Which at first probably doesn't sound like it would make that much of a difference, but for me, it kinda changed everything. Like, for a small example, whenever I was playing games like Horizon or Ghost of Tsushima, I started getting curious about what it would feel like to just walk in them, even if it was for only a minute. And when I did, I started noticing little details in the world I would have completely missed while running. Details like Aloy reacting to the cold as she moves through the snow, or Jin brushing his hand through the grass as he walks. Both things that not only add personality to the characters, but more importantly, made the entire world feel real. Because now, the snow and the grass didn't just feel like things I was looking at, instead it all started to feel kind of tangible, almost like I was actually in it, and that just felt really good. So good in fact that I didn't want to just walk for small bursts anymore. And one of the games that really taught me to appreciate that was Red Dead Redemption 2. Which, funnily enough, is a game that's known for being a lot slower than usual and where walking is pretty much the default movement. And admittedly, at first, I really struggled with that. Like, I was just so used to the faster pace of other games. So when I got to Red Dead, everything just felt unnaturally slow. To the point where I actually kept tapping X to sprint around, just trying to match that pace I was familiar with. Which not only felt really awkward to do, but also just made Arthur look kind of ridiculous. And so because of that, I eventually stopped fighting it and really started leaning into that slower, more natural pace. And honestly, that's when I started to really see everything around me. Like sometimes I'd simply just walk around and get completely absorbed in the NPCs who genuinely seemed alive, just doing their own thing. I'd see them chopping wood, perfectly by the way, or getting into little scraps with each other, and then heading off to get drunk afterwards. I'd even see animals out there living their own lives too, with my favorite example being when I simply got lucky enough to spot a couple of wolves playing together out in a field. Both of those being moments that were not only just really interesting to look at, but also gave me this crazy sense that the world existed all on its own. And because I was now finally taking the time to be aware of it, simply just knowing that this stuff could happen, even when I wasn't watching, completely changed how the entire world felt. And that feeling was kind of amazing, which is crazy because all of that simply came from slowing down and choosing to walk. But even though this whole video so far has been about slowing down, that doesn't mean you literally have to slow down. It sounds weird, but you can actually go really fast and still experience the world around you. However, the one thing you do need to make sure you aren't doing is skipping the journey altogether. And of course, what I'm actually talking about here is fast travel, or more specifically, avoiding it. And I didn't really understand how much of a game changer that was until this one experience I had in Come Deliverance 2, where for the first 15 to 20 hours I genuinely didn't even think fast travel existed. And I know how stupid that sounds, but I just couldn't find the option for it anywhere. So basically I was forced to do everything on foot, which at first I hated. Since KCD is already known for being a bit slow, I just ended up finding the game to be a little too slow, especially without fast travel. Like, for a start, almost every quest was on the other side of the map. Not to mention I was constantly backtracking for them, and on top of that, because the roads are so dangerous and saving's kind of a luxury, if I died, I had to do all of that all over again. So yeah, I really wanted fast travel, but like I said, I couldn't find it, so at that point I just accepted that maybe it wasn't even a thing. And looking back on it now, that actually ended up being one of the best things I could have done. Because once I accepted it, I just stopped thinking about fast travel completely, and that allowed me to finally embrace the game for what it was. So now, instead of being frustrated by the journey, I kind of fell in love with the journey. Even with the simple things, like with just how beautiful the nature was. I also became so familiar with the world that I rarely even needed the map anymore, and on top of that, because of how dangerous the roads were, I'd find other ways around them, which would then lead me to other things I never would have found otherwise, like random rewards or even little Easter eggs. And for the record, I wasn't moving slowly while I was doing all of this either. Like, I was still sprinting and absolutely boosting it on my horse whenever I got the chance. But because I wasn't skipping everything in between, it all just stayed connected, almost like I was on this one massive uninterrupted journey. But then of course, I found out how to fast travel, which honestly at first I was stoked for.
Oh, what a relief!
It made everything quicker, easier, and I could just get so much more done in a shorter amount of time, especially when I had only like 1 hour to play. However, the more I used it, the more I could also feel that magic from those first 20 hours starting to fade. And I think that's because everything just started to feel disconnected. Like, instead of being one continuous world, everything was now separated by loading screens, almost like the world was made up of individual levels, and I really didn't like that. Honestly, I was kind of annoyed at myself for giving into it. Like, it was as if discovering fast travel quietly put pressure on me to be efficient. I no longer felt relaxed or at peace while playing the game, and I really missed that feeling, so I just stopped fast traveling again. And pretty quickly, I found myself falling right back in love with the game again too. And overall, it made me realize that efficiency was actually the thing killing my enjoyment. And once I experienced that, I started avoiding fast travel in other games too, even the faster ones, but not always for the same reason. Like in Cyberpunk, for example, I'd find myself avoiding fast travel just so I could drive to my destination while listening to music. A relaxing vibe that I loved so much to the point where even when I arrived, I would keep on driving just so I could sit with that feeling a bit longer. So while KCD taught me how to find enjoyment from connecting with the world, Cyberpunk taught me how to find enjoyment from just being in the world. And experiences like those are exactly why avoiding fast travel became such a game changer for me, and why I still try to avoid it whenever I can. But even in saying all of what I have in this video, I still use fast travel, and I still run instead of walk, and I don't always stop. Because sometimes I just have to. Like, I don't have all the time in the world, and sometimes I just want to get stuff done too. But also, being efficient is kind of just a habit. It's really easy to just go on autopilot and move from one thing to the next without even thinking about it. And to be fair, a lot of games kind of push you in that direction too. But now, after all these experiences, I'm trying to break that habit and form a new one. A habit where, when I get to the end of the game, I don't just think, that was cool, now on to the next one. I want to think, wow, that was amazing, I wish I could experience that again. And these days, I only ever get that feeling when I slow down, stop being efficient, and actually experience the game. And I guess that's the golden rule, just slow down and experience it. But as always, that's just my opinion. Thank you for slowing down with me, and I hope this video made you go, yeah.